Right. General, okay, so there's the shell one. Paste. Right. Got 4 watching now. Cool. Then I need to get the pop-out chat here. And take a little swig. All right. Hey guys, Ranner and Shades here, exercising my first to memorize stream style. Welcome to what I'm sort of planning on having be the final one of these streams. I'm not sure I'm wanting to do any more of these Guitar Hero tier list streams. I don't feel very strongly about any of the other games. I'm not sure I'm wanting to do one for any of the Rock Band games that I have. This one's probably going to be the last one. I want to get it out of the way while I am A, awake, and B, have it on my mind and all that. So, yeah, that's basically what we're going to be doing here. We got a lot of ground to cover with this one because this one also has a pretty lengthy soundtrack. There's a lot new that was introduced with Guitar Hero 3. Basically, this was where, you know, multiplayer career mode was like a thing where, you know, there was like a whole another series of bonus songs that you could only unlock by doing that specific career mode. So that was a thing. There was the graphics and designs are also a lot more different in this game. And I remember not particularly liking that much. The soundtrack for this, I think, was fine. There's some that I didn't really care for, but honestly, you know, I kind of loved 2 so much that 3 just kind of failed to meet that in terms of quality, so I didn't really play it too much. But I still have some nice memories of this game. So, yeah, that out of the way, suppose we can switch over to this window over here and get started with this. So, first thing we got over here, we got When You Were Young by The Killers. So, I'd heard the name The Killers before this, but I wasn't really expecting them to sound like this. I was kind of expecting them to be sort of like punky and whatnot. And I suppose Killers have some punky elements in their sound, but I've always found them more just sort of general, sort of soft Britpoppy kind of alternative rock, and they're an alright band. The first 2 albums are my favorite. The third one's okay too. 4th one's not bad, but Hot Fuss and Sam's Town, that's pretty much, you know, the bread and butter there. And this comes from the latter, and it's one of my favorites. It's something I definitely enjoy hearing. So this I'm going to put in the A tier, because it's definitely strong. I definitely enjoy singing along with a lot of parts, you know. He doesn't look a thing like Jesus. They from Las Vegas. They're also all Mormon. That I also find to be kind of interesting. All of the Killers are Mormon. So next, What do we got? We got Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses. I alluded in the Guitar Hero 2 tier list that I definitely preferred Sweet Child of Mine over this. I can tire of Sweet Child of Mine, but not like I tire of this. This song became really, really played out over time to the point where I just got tired of hearing it more than any Guns N' Roses song. Like, most of the time, like, if you ever see me saying, like, oh, Guns N' Roses is overrated, a lot of the time it's mostly just because of this song, not really because of anything else. Because I've always found this to be, like, kind of played out. I found it really catchy on first listen and really just jamming and whatnot, but it got old for me pretty easily, and I'm not as into it as I used to be. So, a step down from Sweet Child of Mine, in my opinion. I'm going to put this in the... I think I'm going to put it in C tier. Over there. Definitely enjoyable, but I prefer Somebody Told Me is still a great song. It is. My favorite song from Killers, I forgot to mention there, Jenny Was a Friend of Mine, is my favorite, largely because of that really, really cool bass line. You don't think they ever topped Hot Fuss? I mean, yeah, Hot Fuss is the superior one in my opinion, but Sam's Town is a worthy follow-up, I think. So yeah, I gotta be honest, Welcome to the Jungle beats Sweet Child of Mine. Okay, I mean, it's fine if you think that. I'm just not as sick of Sweet Child of Mine as I am of Welcome to the Jungle, personally. What do we got here? Ooh. One of my favorites in the game. Monsters by Matchbook Romance. With that really creepy guitar line. That... I really like this song. I really liked it upon first play in the game, and it's continued to hold up well with me. The solo rules. The chorus is pretty cool. This is one of the best songs in the game, in my opinion. And Matchbook Romance is a very, 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 very underrated mid-2000s post-hardcore band. Definitely worth a listen if you're into, like, you know, punk in the 2000s. S tier for this. I love this. Sweet Child of Mine is an excellent song too. Yeah. You know, like I said in the Guitar Hero 2 tier list stream, it's a good song on its own, largely because of the guitar work and whatnot. Welcome to the Jungle just doesn't really have that, in my opinion. And that's why I never really liked it as much. Yes, Monsters. Oh yeah, I'm not saying any other album came close. Sam's Town came really close. Yeah, Welcome to the Jungle is definitely a song that's played a lot on radio, I believe. Don't remember this one. Monsters is one of the songs that you unlock in the co-op career mode and whatnot. I found that to be kind of annoying because you'd hear this in the background on like the menu selection screens, and I'm really wanting to know what the song is, and that's how you unlock it. And I remember thinking, okay, that's kind of a hassle. I don't know why, but I always mistaken Matchbook Romance for Secondhand Serenade. I've never heard of that. I always have a hard time, like Matchbook. There's Matchbook Romance and there's Matchbox 20. They have very similar sounding names, and when I'm meaning to type one, sometimes I type the other. Also, I played a clip from Monsters in Best Songs of 2019. So there's that. Here we got Reptilia by The Strokes. This song I never really liked that much. I always thought it was sort of simplistic sounding. I mean, it's a memorable main riff, but honestly, I just never really found the song that interesting, and it's for that reason that I never really looked much into The Strokes. I know a lot of people really like The Strokes, but they've just never really sold me. I never really found them to be all that great. And nothing else I've listened to from The Strokes really matched up with this. This is the only song I really care about with The Strokes. So this I'm going to put in the D tier. Same with Sabotage Beastie Boys. They're the band who had the song "Tonight Will Be the Night That I Will Fall for You" or "Fall for You." Doesn't ring a bell. Here we got "The Seeker" by The Who. Not really one of The Who's better known songs. I was kind of surprised that this was the song that they went with The Who, because I had started listening to The Who a little bit before the game came out. I was kind of shocked that this was the one that they went with from them, because, you know, you had some better known songs for them. You have Pinball Wizard, you had Baba O'Reilly, you had Won't Get Fooled Again, you had, what else you got? You got My Generation, and I said Pinball Wizard already. Good bit more, you know. The Who is definitely like one of my favorites from the 60s, although I kind of like their 70s stuff a little better. Who's Next is great. Who Are You has some good stuff on it. A song I definitely recommend y'all check out. I think this is on like a remaster edition of Who's Next. It's a song called Water. It's very long, has a really lengthy solo, and a pretty groovin' drum and bass part. Check that song out. That's my favorite of The Who, and something that is always a treat listening to. It's played live also. This song I always found to be kind of average, especially for The Who. I always thought there was better stuff. So this I'm going to put in D tier. Did you ever use the Unlock Everything cheat code? I did not know cheat codes existed at the time. The song that got me into The Who, thanks to Guitar Hero 3, really? Who Are You is another notable song. Yes, Who Are You? That's another really good one. Next, this isn't the version that's in the game, but we have The Devil Went Down to Georgia, originally by the Charlie Daniels Band, and Charlie Daniels unfortunately recently passed away, so rest in peace to him. The country version of the song, I think, is kind of fun and all that, but the version in the game by Steve Ouimet, that's the guy's name, if you want to look him up. He has an album out that's just called Epic, and his version of Devil Went Down to Georgia is on that album, and goddamn, the solos there freaking destroy. Like, I had quite a hard time beating that boss for the first time, and I think when I first played the game, I think I was playing on medium just so I could unlock everything without playing on easy, just because, you know, I don't want to be challenged too much, but I also just want to unlock everything and all that. And even on medium, it was kind of crazy with this. So, yeah. One of the few country artists that, you know, has some material that I dig, and, you know, can't go wrong there. So where am I going to put this? I think I'm going to go with A tier for this one. R.I.P. Charlie Daniels. Cheat codes aren't really a thing anymore. Seemingly everyone demonizes cheaters these days. Even if I knew they were a thing back then, I probably would have just wanted to beat the game on my own merit and whatnot. And I mostly just wanted to put in some kind of effort to unlock everything so you can enjoy the adventure, you know? Yes, Lou. He was a bitch to beat. That's what his name was. I don't think I even remembered that. I remember what he looked like, though. Kind of reminded me of, like, an evil version of Phil from Hercules. Cool Thing by Sonic Youth. I never liked this song at all. I always thought this song was really, really fucking boring. And needless to say, did not make a good impression on me with Sonic Youth. And as a result, I know there's a lot of people that like Sonic Youth as far as, like, you know, early alternative rock from, like, the 80s and whatnot. 80s alternative rock was never really my thing. When it comes to alternative rock, that mostly starts for me in, like, 88 between like 88 and 90, I would say. But yeah, I always found this to be really boring, not something I went back to a lot. So, gonna put this in the F tier. I hate that more than fucking Tattooed Love Boys and Guitar Hero 2. That song at least had some catchy moments. This doesn't have anything going for it. Weird song, yes, weird song indeed. Now we got Cherub Rock by Smashing Pumpkins. Another one of my favorites in this game. Very chill sounding, but has some memorable parts. I like singing along with this one, especially the part where it's like, "Who wants honey? Let me out." With that really kind of nasally sounding voice from Mr. Billy Corgan. Definitely a very memorable song from my favorite of Smashing Pumpkins' album, Siamese Dream. My favorite song from Smashing Pumpkins is also from that album. That would be Geek USA. Cherub Rock is another highlight for me. And apparently it was so good that they also put it in the first Rock Band. So, yeah, I'm putting this in the S tier because I loves it. Cherub Rock is S indeed. Yeah. Really catchy riff too. The yeah. Makes me happy just thinking about it. What is this? Same Old Song and Dance by Aerosmith. In my opinion, this was a step up from Last Child. Last Child was fun, but this song is even more fun. It's got a cool, shuffle feel. It's very bluesy sounding. There's a sax solo in this, and it's quite fun. Very groovy. One of my favorites from Aerosmith, I would say. They didn't play this live when I saw Aerosmith, which was kind of unfortunate. But yeah, it's a fun one. Wasn't really expecting this to be the one that they would go with if they were putting an Aerosmith song, because it's not exactly one of their best known songs. It's quite known. It's a fan favorite, I would definitely say, but but it's never been on the level of songs like Dream On and Walk This Way and all that stuff. But I definitely like this song a lot better than both of those songs. This I'm going to put in the A tier. My first Smashing Pumpkins song, Cherub Rock, is really fun and one of my favorite songs added by Smashing Pumpkins. Solo is the greatest guitar tone for a solo cover. Good song to practice octaves. I prefer their next album, but still great. I'm guessing that's in reference to Smashing Pumpkins. Yeah, I've always preferred Siamese Dream over Melancholy, but Melancholy is good. This is a better Aerosmith song. The song rules, so much fun and memorable lyrics, like Love Ain't the Same on the South Side of Town. Love the Strokes, good for you. Never got this band, never really understood the hype. Oh God, Cool Thing is a song I can't stand. I don't know if you noticed, but Cherub Rock might have taken a certain riff and drum port by Bytor and the Snow Dog by Rush. I'll have to look into that. That's not exactly a Rush song I'm all that familiar with. Next, we got Sabotage by the Beastie Boys. So this was an interesting one in there because Beastie Boys are mostly known for being a rap group or a rap rock group because they actually do play instruments. They actually, I think, started out as a punk band, but, sort of morphed into a rap group with some rock elements. And those rock elements are definitely present in this and in this song, which is what I think makes it really memorable, especially that bass part where it goes along with those really weird guitar noises that make me think a lot of Tom Morello. This has never been one of my favorites from Beastie Boys, but it's definitely one I thought, was fun, for sure. From one of my favorite albums of Beastie Boys, Ill Communication. I've always preferred No Sleep Till Brooklyn over this, along with, songs like Hey Ladies, and Make Some Noise. But this definitely has a charm to it. It's cool. I'm going to put this in the A tier. I was introduced through SP through GH World Tour and today. Yeah, that was the song they went with in that game. YFBS be like Smashing Pumpkins or Guns N' Roses sped up. Your favorite band sucks is what that apparently stands for. Bass part is cool and Sabotage. Not the best song on Ill Communication. Sure Shot is better. Still good though. Yeah, it's one of my favorites on Ill Communication, but as far as like one of my favorite Beastie Boys songs in general, nah, I wouldn't say it's really there. Next, we got Pride and Joy by Stevie Ray Vaughan. Is this a step up from Texas Flood? I personally don't really think so. I always like Texas Flood a lot better than this, but it's certainly fun. It has a cool swinging groove and has some really very trademark Stevie Ray Vaughan licks, and definitely, is something that you really cannot go wrong with for sure. It's definitely one of the better known songs of his, and of course, being that he's one of my favorite musicians of all time, of course, I'm going to have a love for this. I didn't mention this in the Guitar Hero 1 tier list, but there was a class that I took in college called The Blues, and I spent a lot of time kind of gushing over Stevie Ray Vaughan in that class, as well as Gary Moore. Like, those two are like my favorite blues players. So, yeah, this has to go in the S tier. Listen to the opening guitar and drums of Cherub Rock and the timestamp I mentioned in Viator, and you'll hear it. Shuffle Blues. Texas Flood is better, but this is a really good song. Pride and Joy is the catchiest swing riff. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. What a fun song, and yes, I like Texas Flood a bit more. Yeah. Did you hear about Yellow Card? I talked about that in my Ripoffs video. The Yellow Card and Juice WRLD thing. Watch that video. I spend a lot of time talking about dumb music industry lawsuits. Rocksmith is like Guitar Hero. Yeah. Though, from what I got from watching Nick Nocturnal's video about Rocksmith, it doesn't look as easy as Guitar Hero. It doesn't look like the easiest to grasp. Stevie Ray Vaughan's first album is a masterpiece. Yeah, the Texas Flood album, it's great. It's probably my favorite, I think. Between that and In Step and possibly Sky is Crying, but yeah. No, Yellow Card dropped their case against him. Good! Fucking good! That was stupid of them. Glad they came to their senses. Moving on. Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones. I mentioned in the Guitar Hero 2 tier list that I never really cared for Rolling Stones that much. I'm not sure I like this better than Can't You Hear Me Knockin'. Can't You Hear Me Knockin' at least had a pretty cool solo. Paint It Black doesn't really have that going for him. I'd say it's catchier, though. And has a cooler chord progression. But I was never really that huge on this song. So, where am I going to put this? This I'm going to put in E tier. Now here's a song that introduced me to Rolling Stones. Next, we got Rock You Like a Hurricane by the Scorpions. Their best known song, maybe not their highest charting song, but the song that anyone who knows the Scorpions knows this song. They know the riff. It's a riff that, is one of the go-to, beginner riffs. I don't like this as much as No One Like You. I remember thinking it was one of the cooler songs in the soundtrack my first time playing. And, it definitely, has a feel to it that I can definitely get behind. It's not my favorite on Love at First Sting either. I think I mentioned in one of the previous streams that my favorite track on that album would be Still Lovin' You. And my favorite Scorpions song in general is from Blackout, which is where No One Like You is off of. The song Can't Live Without You. But yeah, you can't really go wrong with this one. It's not a bad song by any means. Not really a song I think I need to hear anymore. But that said, I'll put it in the A tier just because, there are some pretty cool guitar parts. Especially the harmony parts and the really fast parts in the solo. The song is Painted Black is very overplayed, very psychedelic. Painted Black is kick-ass, also my first song of theirs. I would have liked to see Boris the Spider in World Tour. It would be a fun attempt to attempt the vocals. Scorpions is S tier. They're a good band, definitely. Mostly their 80s material is what I tend to listen to more. From Love Drive to Face the Heat. Yes, my introduction to the Scorpions. Had this song on my iPod since 2010. I remember an Applebee's commercial using Rock You Like a Hurricane. Books Are Burning by XTC from Nonsuch has a good outro. Okay. My favorite Korn song? Painted Black is the first emo song ever. Yeah, I can kind of see that for sure. It's making me think of that part in Danny Phantom when Sam's mom comes in with this pink dress and she just takes this can of black spray paint and just sprays it black and then just cuts it short. It's like, that's always sort of been what Painted Black always made me think of. What do we got next? Rain and Blood by Slayer. A very challenging song. I'd heard some talk about Slayer before, and this was my introduction to Slayer, of course. I had some pretty high expectations, especially since this was in, the final level. I remember thinking, okay, I'm finally gonna get to hear what this sounds like. And when it gets to the part where it goes, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can definitely see why people like this. But then we get to the part after that where it just starts going really fucking crazy fast, and I'm like, okay, all right, this is pretty hectic for my liking. But I can definitely see the appeal. And that's always been sort of my thing with Slayer, is I totally get why so many people like them, why so many people think they're one of the best ever and whatnot. It's just the fans just... you've heard me say this many times, how obnoxious their fan base can be. Not to mention, it's part of the reason why I kind of think J-Hoff Films has been going downhill for the last couple years, is because they've been running the Slayer shit into the ground. But, I'm not going to say this is a bad song because of that. It's just not one that, I gush over, and it's not from a band I gush over. I've always preferred Angel of Death over this, and the song that I've always said is my favorite from Slayer would probably be South of Heaven. So, I'll put this in the A tier to be nice. Overrated album, Seasonally the Best, South of Heaven, Rain and Blood. Yeah, I've always liked those albums more than Rain and Blood. Rain and Blood, the best intro of the whole game. Rain and Blood is S tier for me. Slayer outro is 240 BPM. Shit, YouTube didn't send me notification for this stream, so I'm late, but this is the best Guitar Hero game. Show No Mercy, Rain and Blood. I'd agree with that. I'm here, bro. Glad to see you could make it, Space Metal. Because I remember how upset you were that you missed the Rock the 80s stream. Rain and Blood is B tier. Also couldn't finish this damn song. Top 6 songs to be in a 2021 Guitar Hero. Remember When by Bad Wolves? Yes, that's my favorite song of theirs. Gone Away by Five Finger Death Punch's version of Gone Away. No. Hush by Hell Yeah. Don't know how familiar. Addicted by Simple Plan. With the funniest pun that I remember laughing really hard at when I was an edgy 12-year-old. I'm a dick. I'm addicted to you. Breakdown by Seether. That's good. And Perry Mason by Ozzy Osbourne. JF Films is cringe now. They can make some okay videos sometimes, but ever since it's just been mostly Chris over there, they just haven't really been as funny as they were when they had more of the people with their, like, Carpizzle and Prims and all that. That's why I don't really enjoy their videos as much nowadays. I agree, Slayer fan bats are obnoxious. They technically have no room to bitch about Metallica fans, huh? Sonic Youth never really appealed to me. I don't even know why, but just a band I slept on. Slayer fans are obnoxious. The music goes over it, too. Yeah. Even on easy difficulty, the song was a bitch for me to get 5 stars. Monarch to the Kingdom of D. Most of the big 4 fan bases, except maybe Anthrax fans, are pretty annoying. Yeah. Like, you never really hear any weird shit from Anthrax fans and whatnot. It's mostly the other 3. And even then, Megadeth would probably be, like, in the middle between Metallica and Slayer and Anthrax. Rain and Blood is a bitch to even 5 stars at times. Very brutal attempt at the FC. I can't even FC First Blood section on Smash Hits. Anthrax fans are so chill. That being said, I mostly sucked at these games. I've heard about this band a couple months before this game came out, so I'm glad I did love this band. Anthrax fan base is the most chill of them all. I remember seeing a meme about that where it shows, you know, a Metallica fan, a Megadeth fan, a Slayer fan, and an Anthrax fan in their room, and the Anthrax fan is like standing up and smiling, like, I'm gonna go outside today, or something like that. And the Slayer fan is like cutting himself and whatnot, like drawing blood and all that. But let's move on. We got here, "Suck My Kiss" by Red Hot Chili Peppers. It's from a superior album to Higher Ground on the first game. Blood Sugar Sex Magic has always been my second favorite Chili Peppers album after Stadium Arcadium. I'm not sure if this is the better song, though, compared to their cover of Higher Ground. It's funkier, definitely. But Higher Ground, I think, is more fun than this one. But it's still great. It's definitely a good song from Blood Sugar Sex Magic. And I'm glad that, you know, that we got a funkier sounding Chili Peppers song, you know, in one of these games. Because I don't really feel like Higher Ground would have made as good of an impression on people who had never heard the Chili Peppers before compared to a song like this. Though, you know, I could go on and on about songs I would love to see from the Chili Peppers in a game like this because they're one of my favorite bands. So, yeah. So, although it might not be one of my favorite Chili Peppers tunes, I'm still going to put it in the S tier just based on principle. Anthrax are the Duff designated ugly fat friend of the Big Four. What about Testament fans? No, I don't really hear very much about, like, Testament fans. You know, the most I really hear is that people saying that Testament should be in the Big Four over one of them. I can't stand Suck My Kiss. Yeah. Like I said, it's not really one of my favorites of theirs, but, you know, I'd say it's more fun of a song. I'd say. More funky of a song, rather. Exodus as well. And the reason Exodus fan base even exists is because Kirk Hammett used to be in it. I'm sure it probably wasn't just that, but I'm sure that's where their first bit of notoriety came from, was from Kirk Hammett's involvement. Never got into this song. Keys' vocals are so hit or miss for me. Like I said in the What's Wrong With on the Chili Peppers, that's always been like one of the main complaints people have had, is mostly having to do with Kiedis' vocals. And I can sort of understand where they're coming from. I never really found him to be an amazing singer, but mostly a charismatic and recognizable singer. Early Red Hot Chili Peppers, good, not 2000s except Danny California. Stadium Arcadium is really great, you know? There's some excellent songs on there. Like, listen to the song Torture Me and I'm sure you can, see the appeal there, because it has funky parts, has a really ripping solo, and that's a blast. Sodom fans are chill. Suck My Kiss would be a B tier for me. I think it even introduced me to Red Hot Chili Peppers as well. Suck My Kiss is D tier for me. Yeah, I can see a lot of people are kind of mixed on that particular song. I definitely would have picked a different one personally, but yeah. I remember how I used to think Suck My Kiss was a disturbing song title when I was 10. I never really understood what sucking a kiss meant when I first heard the song. Nowadays, I think it's more of a censor for something else that people suck. Your mouth was made to suck my kiss. Speaking of Kiss, we got Rock and Roll All Night, a song I am very, very, very sick of. Like anybody who thinks Kiss is overrated and annoying, a lot of the time it has to do with this song and how played out it is with the freaking chorus. I wanna rock and roll all night and party every day. It's like, okay. Like, again, it's very, like, by the numbers hard rock and whatnot. And there is definitely better Kiss material out there. I think, God, like, I'm more sick of this song than I am of Welcome to the Jungle. That's the thing. So, I'm going to put this in E tier. And by the way, since part of me feels an obligation to say this, Poison's cover of that song is much more fun. Snow Hey-Oh is a great one. Yeah, I used to not like Snow Hey-Oh that much, but then when I heard the guitar line and how intricate it is, that's what got me to appreciate it a lot more. It is kind of repetitive, but that guitar part. I remember being like really kind of intrigued by that, especially because one of my guitarist friends played that with such ease, and I'm like, huh. Same, but that was until I got into Carcass, Capitation, Kiss, good segue. Thank fuck I'd FCS so I wouldn't have to hear it, that Kiss song, I mean, yeah. Rock and Roll All Night is the most overrated song in the game for sure. What the soundtrack to the new Bill and Ted movie should be, no matter if it's new school or old school, if it matters what makes the soundtrack sound epic, like this Mudvayne's Happy. Forced gender assignment, oof. That hard rock song, by today's standards, is pretty stale. I love Kiss, but this is not one of my favorites. They could have picked I've Had Enough, Into the Fire, King of the Mountain, or I Stole Your Love. All of which I definitely prefer over that. Rock and Roll All Night sound like Chuck Berry, I guess. Monolith of Inhumanity is a great album. School's Out by Alice Cooper. A song that was part of a ritual of mine for many years back when I actually went to school. From in high school all the way through my college days, this was always the song that I would play on the last day of school. Whenever I came home, I would just turn this up real loud because I felt very strongly about this ritual because, of course, that's the big thing that really has held this song up, is because it's a go-to song for when you're finished with school and all that. It also makes me think a lot of the Camp Krusty episode of The Simpsons in the beginning, where Bart is having his dream about destroying the school once it lets out. I wouldn't say I'm super huge on Alice Cooper, but of course, I'll always have some very nice memories of this song. So This I'm going to put in B tier. Just to put something there. Everything sounds like Chuck Berry and Marvin Gaye, huh? Marvin Gaye suing everyone. Oh, yes. Another thing from the Ripoffs video. The similar feel. Classic anthem song. I was supposed to see him live this year and it got canceled. Tesla and Lita Ford were on the bill. Huh. That's a pretty cool lineup. Always play that song on Rock Band in middle school out of celebration, out of not dealing with nonsense drama. Rock and Roll Night is great, but it's got nothing on Strutter, Lick It Up, Detroit Rock City, Sure Know Something, Forever, and Love Gun. Love Gun's pretty awesome. Detroit Rock City, I'd definitely say it's more fun. What new tier bands inspire you? You need to work on your spelling. Feed My Frankenstein is better. Indeed it is. It features solos from Joe Satriani and Steve Vai. Alice Cooper, the band. Alice Cooper, solo artist. I never really made a point to differentiate them, personally. I know one of Alice Cooper backup singers, Devin Mead, on Alice Trashes the World Tour. The live version on Rock Band is fun as balls to play, but super brutal to FC. Next, we got My Name is Jonas by Weezer. So, prior to hearing this song in the game, I was already aware of Beverly Hills because it was very popular, and I'm someone that actually doesn't hate that song, mostly because it's got a pretty cool sounding solo. But I was pretty interested when I heard what this song sounded like and how different it sounded from that song. And I'm like, yeah. This is pretty fun, definitely. Wouldn't say, actually no, I'd definitely say it's one of my favorites on Blue Album. Blue Album is my favorite from Weezer, but my favorite song, I definitely recommend you guys check this out because it's very proggy and very all over the place. The Greatest Man That Ever Lived from the Red Album. It features a rendition of a Shaker hymn, the that part. That's what got me really interested in that song. We were playing that in concert band my freshman year of high school, and the Red Album was came out very recently, and one of the people asked to play that song in the class just because of that. And so that's a big part of why that's my favorite of Weezer's songs. But My Name is Jonas is definitely up there. It's got a cool acoustic line, kind of a repetitive progression, but it's kind of a drinking sounding song, I think. So it's pretty enjoyable, definitely. This I'm going to put in A tier. ARTV's favorite Weezer song, that's right. Maybe the best Weezer song, or maybe something off Pinkerton. That Weezer song, aside from TTFAF, was one of the first in the GH3 previews that I saw on here. The song is great. What got me into Weezer, also very fun to play. Song in 6/8 time signature, First Weezer song. Only in Dreams is the best song on Blue. My Name is Jonas, Weezer's best song, hands down. It's certainly up there. I love Pork and Beans from Red Album. That one's pretty fun and funny. Weezer is the most frustrating band ever, though. Yeah, Weezer is another one of those bands where their new material is just very divisive, I think. My favorite Weezer song would be either Why Bother, The Good Life, Across the Sea, or In the Garage. They come out with a good album and then proceed to make a few shit albums and an unnecessary covers album. Oh, God. I remember everybody hating that. I'm hearing people are pretty excited for the Van Weezer one, which is supposed to sound like, an 80s rock album and all that. And I'm certainly interested to see what people think of it. A bunch of musicians are releasing new material next year. What do you have in mind to look forward to seeing from a new release? I have a list of things that I keep track of as far as like albums coming out. The next things I'm looking forward to on my agenda here, I don't have anything for this week, but on August 7th, we got new albums from Misery Signals, Slaves, Stand Atlantic, and Orbit Culture. At least I think. I'm hoping none of those ended up getting delayed. I'll have to double check on all that. That's all in like next week, all on August 7th. So I'm like, Then I got Unleash the Archers, Seether, Striper, Oceans of Slumber, Arion, Joji, Nothing But Thieves, and that's all for this year. The one album that I know got delayed to next year that I have written down that, you know, I was anticipating for this year was Steven Wilson's new album. But that's what my album agenda is looking like as far as the future goes. Me, I'm going to drive to Burger King for some food, sees shades of Stream and GH tier list. Never mind, the stomach can wait. Looking forward for new Arion, definitely. I'm getting tired of getting nothing from A Day to Remember. That's another thing, one that doesn't have a release date. And I'm optimistic that A Day to Remember's new album won't be as bad as people are thinking it will be. I really don't want it to suck or anything like that, because A Day to Remember has always been a band that I've thoroughly enjoyed. But for their sake, I at least want that new album to be good, and I want to have a release date for that because it's been like almost a year since that album was announced, and we still haven't gotten a release date for it. I just heard the one single from Van Weezer, but it sounded like their best work since that. But yeah, can't wait for Striper's new album. Of course, you know, some of the best guitar tones and harmonies ever. What is your take on Metallica's S&M 2? Don't really have an opinion. I'm also looking forward to the new Ocean and Napalm Death albums. Okay. Next on this list, what do we got? Black Magic Woman by Santana. It's definitely got a very Latin kind of flavor to it. And some pretty interesting soloing and all that. This was never one of my favorite Santana songs. You know, my introduction to Santana was through in my drum lessons, where I learned the one and only Smooth, featuring Rob Thomas of Matchbox 20. And I was in 5th grade at this time, and recently, like earlier today, me and my mom were cleaning out my closet, and we found a VHS tape of when I played Smooth on drums in front of my class. This is like my first time like playing music in front of people. So, of course, you know, that song is going to have a very special place in my heart. It's one of the best songs ever, of course, too. But Black Magic Woman never really kind of matched up to that, so I was like, well, you know, it definitely has a lot more, you know, rootsy kind of thing to it, but I just never really found it to be as exciting until we get to the part when when it starts to pick up and it goes so yeah, this I'm going to put in B tier. I hope that new A Day to Remember is at least okay. Yeah, like even if it's my least favorite of their albums, I at least don't want to say that it's shit. Those orange tremolos R.I.P. Peter Green. Yeah, another recent loss as well. Was never really that into Peter Green era Fleetwood Mac. But yeah, the song that makes me want to tango. I was thinking to myself, like, is tango in 3/4 or 4/4? Sounds pretty cool, man. Black Magic Woman is really easy Guitar Hero except for the very end. Cool song, yeah. The ending with the crazy alt strumming of the orange note. Oh, now I know what you meant with Orange Tremolos. The part where it goes. That part where he like sort of plays like way high on the neck, like not even like some weird mute harmonic up top. Next, we got Story of My Life by Social Distortion. I wouldn't really get into Social Distortion until a lot later. I always found this song to just be kind of okay. The song that I really like from Social Distortion, I always forget the name of this. But it's from the where is it? Yes, it's from Sex, Love, and Rock and Roll. This would be Reach for the Sky. I always found that to be a much more fun song than this. Much faster and punkier song. This one I just found to be sort of more southerny and whatnot. Was never really that crazy about it. This I'm going to put in the D tier. I love the song so much. My first song is Social Distortion as well. Cowpunk. As far as cowpunk and all that, I always like the Vandals a lot better. Story of My Life is so simple for my standards, yet super relatable. This one is alright. Love Social Distortion, but the song is meh. Yeah, that's basically sort of how I am with it. Story of My Life. Next, another song I've sort of grown kind of tired of over the years, Paranoid by Black Sabbath. Very, very hard step down from War Pigs in the previous game. I remember finding it kind of cool that at the time that Black Sabbath had songs on all 3 of the games, which made me always sort of view Black Sabbath as kind of a staple. But I never liked the song as much as War Pigs or even Iron Man. I always just found the song to be a bit too simple. I even remember hearing some story about this basically kind of being written in a similar fashion to Cherry Pie, like at the last minute for the album. It was just sort of, chucked out just for the sake of having one more song to fill the album. But yeah, not super crazy about this one. This I'm going to put in the C tier. I'd say it's at least more entertaining than the ones below it, but yeah, similar to Welcome to the Jungle right next to it. I'm just kind of tired of it. Hopefully Helicopter by Block Party shows up soon. Paranoid is more punk than metal, maybe. I can see it as a song that influenced punk, definitely. The song got me into Black Sabbath, I'll be honest, though, after hearing more of their songs and albums. It's not their best, but still an S tier for me, despite what I said. Kind of speed metal, huh? I don't know about that. I don't really like using the term speed metal because all it really sounds like it's metal that's fast. And it's like, well, yeah, there's a lot of fast metal bands. Like, it just seems like way too vague of a term, and that's why I don't really use it. Most bands that get classified as speed metal, I usually have under traditional metal or power metal or neoclassical or thrash. That's sort of always been my thing there. This, what do we got? Ooh, another one of my favorites in the game, Cities on Flame with Rock and Roll by Blue Oyster Cult. I really like Godzilla in the first game, but I always found this to be a step up there. I love the riff. I love the drumming. Love the soloing. This song is fun as crap. One of my favorites in the game for sure. I'm definitely putting this in the S tier. This has been my favorite song of Blue Oyster Cult's ever since. And Godzilla's pretty great too, but this, though. Paranoid is awesome, as in the album of the same name, but I have to agree War Pigs beats it out. Its length being 1+ over Paranoid. Yeah, that's another thing I always found to be kind of a drop-off there, how short the song is. How do you feel about Trapt these days since they stopped? They stopped? Are you sure about that? I remember sharing a Facebook post of theirs where they're kind of, continuing to be kind of missing the point and all that on my Facebook. That was like a few days ago. I don't know. Since I'm not on Twitter, I don't really know how much they're doing that. But if they did stop, then okay, good. I'm glad that CTB finally came to an epiphany at how unproductive this is and whatnot, when he could be doing something better for himself and whatnot, rather than feeling the need to engage with everybody and just clap back at everybody and just yell at everybody. It's like, dude, I might enjoy ripping on you, but even I like to think that you're better than this. So, easy S tier right here for me. Speed metal, much like the term retro metal, has always been super jarring to me. Amazing song from Blue Oyster Cult, also S tier. Personally, don't care. Burning for You is my favorite. That one's okay. Speed metal isn't descriptive, though. There are multiple subgenres of metal that have elements of speed. Exactly. That's always been my issue with the term. I dig Cities on Flame with Rock and Roll so damn much. Hands down an S tier. Like, I'd listen to it over fucking Don't Fear the Reaper any fucking day. Trapt had a horrible marketing strategy. Exactly. Like, some people might say that it's smart because it's getting people talking about you and whatnot, but honestly, wouldn't you rather people talk about you because they think your music is good and not because you're just being an asshole online? Tried copying Kanye. Honestly, that makes sense right there, in the sense that he's just saying outrageous shit to get a reaction. Like, in a sense, you could almost make the case for CTV being a troll and whatnot. But the reason I don't call him a troll is because I know he's being serious. I don't have a problem with Republicans, but Chris Taylor Brown was making himself sound like a clown. Exactly. Like, that's another thing. Me and a friend were talking on Facebook about an article that he saw about Metal Sucks, about John Dolmayan, the drummer from System of a Down, being a Trump supporter and all that. And he was talking to me about how they were kind of going kind of easy on him compared to a guy like Chris Taylor Brown and like all the freaking National Socialist black metal friggin' bands and all that. And we were basically talking about, yeah, there's kind of a bias there and kind of a double standard there. They're going easy on him because he's the drummer in System of a Down, and they don't want to, piss off the System of a Down fans and all that. And then it sort of went into a discussion about, how I really don't care if someone is a Trump supporter or if they're a Bernie supporter or a Biden supporter or anything like that. I really could give a fuck less about that. It's just how well they conduct themselves, and if they aren't being super cunty to people about it. And Chris Taylor Brown was being cunty to people about it, and that's why people clowned on him. If anybody really was, dunking on him just because he's a Trump supporter, I feel like that's kind of missing the point a little bit, because I think most people really don't care. I think most people would just kind of leave it alone. It's like, okay, he's a Trump supporter, whatever. I'm not a Trump supporter either, but I'm not the kind of person that makes a huge fucking deal about it. Let me catch up. I wouldn't trust Trapt. I remember a while ago CTP said he was going to stop harassing people on Twitter, and 24 hours later he started making... That was really 24 hours before he pulled that shit with Sumerian? God damn it. That I did not know. Did you see John from ARTV's review Trapt's new album? Yes. On that, I talked about this on my Facebook. I talked about this on my Discord. Trapt replied to my comment on that video. Let me read you the screen cap. I really want to get back to the tier list, but I really gotta... You guys really need to hear this. Because, oh my god. What? Now I just need to find this in my screen cap folder. There it is. Trapt replies to me on ARTV's review of their new album. My comment on his video said, "Finally, someone in the music review community is talking about this, LMAO. The moment I heard that Trapt was recording a new album this year, two thoughts came to mind. The first was, I really fucking hope his Twitter meltdown wasn't all a publicity stunt to promote his music. And the second was, this is probably going to make great video material for ARTV, Crash, Rocked, or even Fantano. And this very much exceeded my expectations for how this would be tackled, as this is one of your funniest reviews. And I don't even hate Trapt." And here's what Trapt replied to that with. "If you think that was funny, actually, no, I need to do that in the voice. If you think that was funny, it explains why you spend most of your time online and not with actual people." He literally tried to make the "you don't have a life" argument. And that's really rich coming from him, considering he's been spending, like, months freaking attacking people online, and he's gonna talk to me about not having a life. But yeah, that was really funny. Made my day. How many tiers are in one tier? I don't know what that means. He recently revealed he couldn't pay the dude to cover art for shadow work. He also couldn't pay the people who did his music video or whatever. You know, and the music video was, like, really expensive, and he's still trying to pay that off. That's how fucking broke he is. Says a friend with rock and roll's guitar riff has got to be my favorite BOC riff, too, and agreed it totally blows Don't Fear the Reaper out of the water. The song is great, too, but has nothing on that. SOAD sucks ass anyways. They're a good band. It's just that people, including John from ARTV, he kind of blew Damian, being a Trump supporter, kind of out of the water. Personally, I personally think it really isn't that big of a deal, but honestly, I don't understand really why people care that much anyway. To be fair, Serge made a post defending John and himself from the backlash and differences of politics. That's really cool, honestly, because you know how political system is and all that, and how very kind of leftist all of them are. And well, yeah, it is kind of weird that their drummer is a Trump, that the drummer in a very, you know, left band is, you know, a Trump supporter. That really, you know, upped my respect for Serge a lot. The fact that he would, you know, do that for, you know, for John and all that. Are you planning on watching the Rock Coliseum in half an hour? I actually haven't watched any of those streams. I've been thinking about it whenever I need, you know, something where I need a lot of background noise, and there is something that I'm doing that might require that, but it's kind of up in the air. Easy for that incel to say during a pandemic, that too. Like, it's basically saying, you spend all your time online and not outside, and it's like, dude, people are kind of being told to stay inside. Trapt's new album was as boring as dishwater. At least it was not as bad as Father of All. I just watched Punk Rock MBA and I agree with him. Yeah, that was another thing. Like, he was basically saying that we should probably lay off CTB. And even in my video, at the end of the video, I tried to sort of, you know, speak to him on a mano a mano kind of level, and I wasn't even all that mean to him in the video. I tried, you know, trying to speak to him like an actual person and whatnot, because I've always sort of felt like that's how you really get a message across to someone, and if you really want them to listen to you and take you seriously and all that. Because that's how I would want someone to go about criticizing me, so maybe I should, you know, do that for others and whatnot. But yeah, that was another big thing. What's the name of Chris Brown being associated with assholes? You mean Crybabies of Rock? Oh yeah. Oh. That's another fucking pun that I made. You have Chris Taylor Brown and then the other Chris Brown that I made a reference to Lil Dicky about having a thing for. Imagine dedicating your whole life to fighting people on Twitter and then saying other people spend too much time. Exactly. That's what's really ironic about that thing. But yeah, both of those Chris Browns are terrible. Who gives a crap about who you love politically? People are stupid. Exactly. You don't have a life argument is worse than the classic you're just jealous argument. Yeah, because at least with the jealous argument, there are instances where it can be applicable, and I gave an example of that in the Trapt video, actually. I made the argument that Chris Taylor Brown might be jealous of all of the musicians who are, fighting with him and all that for being in a better place in their career than him, and he's kind of projecting onto them because he wants to be as big as them, and he's kind of jealous of that. That at least makes sense. But the you don't have a life thing, it's like, come on. That's stupid and you know it. Problems with nu metal, but it's impossible to take Trapt seriously. Yeah. They've never been hugely up there in my rankings as far as like nu metal or alternative metal bands go. I still think Stand Up is a pretty cool song, but yeah. Trapt is never going to make me not cringe my ass off. Alright, now that I'm caught up with the chat, now let's get back to this, now that we're done talking about Trapt and all that. Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden. A much step up from Wrathchild in Rock the 80s, in my opinion. This was my introduction to Iron Maiden, and it made a very good impression. It's not really one of my favorites these days. These days, my favorite from Iron Maiden is Hallowed Be Thy Name. But Number of the Beast is still pretty damn awesome. Great solos, great riffing, great singing. It's a classic. This whole album is a classic. It's not even my favorite album of theirs. It was for a while, but then Power Slave basically became my favorite. This would definitely be my second favorite, though. Comes very close. So, this is another one of those definite S tiers. As overrated as I think Iron Maiden kind of is. They're overrated for a reason, honestly. Trapt is a 30 or 40 plus year old. Yeah, he's a much boomer. They're the reverse mentality of SJWs. Yeah, pretty much. They're the reason why Horseshoe Theory is a valid thing, and why no one can convince me otherwise. Number of the Beast song, Number of the Beast album. Maiden made much better albums, in my opinion. I think modern rock artists are confused these days because they look back on good memories and don't really pay enough attention to what the pandemic is doing to people like us, and they harass us. There's a number of other things. We talked about the state of rock a lot on here and all that. I don't want to go into too much of a tangent on that. I used to hate Number of the Beast because of how horribly bad I was at the intro, but eventually my 10, 11-year-old self became obsessed with Iron Maiden because of that song and a huge number of others. Trooper is my introduction, Phantom of the Opera 2. Trooper, I will always enjoy the riff to. At least they earned their overrated status, exactly. Pig-headed misogynists, pretty much. I wouldn't go... Misogynist is one of those words that I think tends to kind of be overused to the point where people forget what it actually means. But I would say... I'd say bootlicker is a better word to describe Trapt. Number of the Beast has mysterious... I guess that's a good... Lyrically, it's definitely mysterious. Definitely. Easy as fuck intro, maybe. Run to the Hills was my first. Hallowed Be Thy Name is my favorite. Number of the Beast, by today's standards, for me, isn't even close to that hard. Iron Maiden is actually easy to play on real guitar. They have some riffs that are pretty easy to play on real guitar, but outside of that, freaking those crazy Dave Murray moments is like, oof, I'm not touching that. Next, we got Mississippi Queen by Mountain. So, Mountain is another one of those bands that I never really went out of my way to look into. The song, it's not bad. The lead tone and whatnot, was always like my favorite thing about this song, but I never really found the song that fun, honestly. Though, another thing with Mountain is that my first time seeing Joe Satriani, which is the show that I met him at, Mountain was opening for him on there. So that's why, Mountain has their place in the history of my musical life and all that, but I've never really was that intrigued by this. So this I'm going to put in the D tier. My sister loves R&B. Chris Brown doesn't believe in all the bad things he's done, saying I don't know him personally. I mean, if you want to separate the art from the artist there, okay. I'm sure there are plenty of, people that would bitch about me, still enjoying music of people that have some not great track records and all that. So I can't really get onto people who want to do that with Chris Brown personally. I personally do not care for his music, and never really found her to be that great of a singer and all that. But, even just outside of that, I always sort of found Chris Brown, the Rihanna Chris Brown, to be just, nah. Trapt isn't necessarily sexist, just obnoxiously edgy. My second song of Maidens, it's a killer from start to finish, as is the album, which I was just listening to while playing Pokemon Go a few days ago. Trapt is idiotic. 2 Minutes to Midnight was my first Iron Man song, thanks to V-Rock and GTA VC. Fun fact, Shades and I, unbeknownst to our knowledge, went to the same Iron Maiden concert in Mansfield in 2008. Yes. That was my first concert, and Space Metal was apparently there. Mississippi Queen rules. Trapt makes Dylan Caron look like a genius. Wasp did a cover of said song. Mississippi Queen, SSS tier. Leslie West rules. Regular show is awesome. Mississippi Queen is a swell song. Cream producer on bass. I know that every metalhead would agree with me that if you support a band long enough on social media by proving it, there are chances of them following you. I guess. Next, we got another song that I was hearing a lot of buzz about being in the game. One by Metallica. Because holy fuck, a Metallica song. I remember Metallica were really ridiculous to license back then, and I have a feeling they might still be. I don't know. But I remember it being a big deal that this song was in the game, and it definitely made a pretty good impression on me, especially once it got to the fast part and with the you know which part I'm referring to, the really fast part in the song, the really fast tapping part. But yeah, it's a swell song. When I saw Metallica live, and of course Space Metal was at that concert as well, this was the only song from Injustice that they played, and part of the pun. But I thought that was kind of unfortunate, but, it's a good song, definitely. It's definitely one that I won't mind listening to. This I'm going to put in A tier. Can we just get out of the way now? Devil Went Down to Georgia and TTAF are S tier. Patience, Liam. Hardest Metallica song to FC. I think that might belong to Dire Z or If I Fire With Fire. Not my favorite Metallica song, but that being said, easy S rank. Okay. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the moment I became a gargantuan Metallica fan. Kirk's best solos. TBH, boomers make me appreciate post-80s Metallica. Kind of, yeah. I've never really been that crazy about post-80s Metallica. I never liked Black Album and Load and Reload. That's never been my thing either. Just never really been what I liked about Metallica. Next we got... Ooh, another one of my favorites. Cult of Personality by Living Colour. Ooh, this freaking riff. It's groovy as shit. The solo is freaking crazy as hell. It's a pretty catchy song too. I love this very much. Living Colour is actually a very excellent band and made up of all black musicians, which is really cool. So there's a lot of gushing to be done with this song. It was pretty crazy to play in the game, but it's fun as hell to listen to. Love it very much. Definite S tier here for this. And Justice for All is great. Couldn't have picked many other Metallica songs to be my first as well as one. Every bit of it blows me away. Load and Reload, definitely not the best, but tolerable. Death Magnetic and Hardwired are Headbanger's Ball. Yeah, for some reason, not a lot of people really like Death Magnetic. I like it. Living Colour is pretty good, S tier as well. Have you heard the new Havoc album? They played a number of Metallica Easter eggs in it. Yeah, I really enjoyed it a lot. Havoc is one of my favorite thrash metal bands. Took me quite a bit to FC on Smash Hits, Cult of Personality. Living Colour is awesome. They're groovy, they're funky, and yeah. Cult of Personality, hell yeah. The riff, the solo, everything about this song is so great. One was about a soldier who was wounded in war and is in a coma. Lone Reload are underrated gems. Yeah, like, it's cool if you like them. It's just that when I listen to Metallica, I'm just not really wanting to listen to hard rock and all that. Vernon Reid is the Black Carry King. I remember in Worst Songs of 2017, when I was talking about the song Black Beatles, I remember making kind of a pun about, the fact that Living Colour is all African American and how if any band was going to be the Black Beatles, it would probably be them. How much do you dig ska and reggae? Ska, I enjoy some bands. It's fun stuff. I've never really been the hugest reggae fan, though. I agree, by today's standards, they're actually not that bad, but still not my favorite of all time. One changed my life. Never heard anything that was written like that. Cult of Personality was second favorite song of all time. One based on Johnny Guy's Gun. And during the few moments that we have left, I want to talk right down to earth, and a language here that everyone here can easily understand. I remember when me gushing about Metallica during my GH3 obsession is what inspired my uncle to give me And Justice for All album Christmas of 2007. Blackened is a song that transitioned me into a metalhead. Cool. Next, we got Hit Me With Your Best Shot by Pat Benatar. I was kind of familiar with this song prior to playing this in the game, and I'm like, yeah, it's catchy. Got a pretty alright solo. My favorite, though, from Pat Benatar would be Fire and Ice. And I think, Heartbreaker on Guitar Hero 4, I kind of saw that as a bit of a step up from this. The song is still alright, though. One interesting thing, though, when I saw Pat Benatar in 2011, it was a last-minute decision. Someone gave me their ticket. My uncle gave me his ticket. I went to the show with my mom and my aunt, and for the longest time, this was like the concert I would always say was the worst concert that I ever been to because of how short it was and how I felt like I was just in and out at that show. And there was one moment there where she had said that she normally doesn't play Hit Me With Your Best Shot before she started it. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So it leads me to think she probably just kind of doesn't like the song. As for where I'm going to rank it, I'm going to put it in B tier. And Justice for All is great, catchy riff. NWA would have been my Black Beatles. I mean, as far as rap groups, probably. I mean, if we're wanting to do like a an African-American rock band, I'd probably go with Living Colour. But they have 5 members, so they're the Black Beach Boys. Brian Wilson equals Dre. Ice Cube equals Carl. Eazy-E equals Dennis. Like, damn, it was like yesterday when I thought Blackened was the most hardcore thing I ever heard. Pat Benatar is awesome. Have you noticed they got some of the dates wrong in the game? No, I don't think I noticed that. I probably would these days if I went back to it. I love Pat Benatar, but the song's not one of my favorites. Starry Eyes by the Solids, Hit Me With Your Best Shot. We are in 6 months of quarantine. How do you think the future things is going to be like? I really would like things to lighten up, before, like, October. But people out there are just making it kind of hard. Hell's for Children, that's another pretty heavy one. Next, we've got Barracuda by Heart. Step down from Crazy on You in the second game, in my opinion. I never liked this song as much as Crazy on You. I never really thought it had that much going for it. I mean, sure, it's like one of the first like gallop riff songs, and that's always been sort of the big thing about this, but I was never really that huge on this song, honestly. So for this C tier for this one. George R.R. Martin being the multiverse's biggest procrastinator. BTW, going back to Number of the Beast, I have the artwork for the single as my channel's art. Just not cool. Barracuda rocks, good song, badass riff. This we get LaGrange by ZZ Top. Personally, I view this as a step up from Sharp Dressed Man in the first game. Sharp Dressed Man's fun. This one I always thought had a better riff and a cooler solo. And had a bit more fun with this one. Like I talked about in the Guitar Hero 1 stream, ZZ Top has always been sort of corny fun kind of band, especially with this song being about a whorehouse, which sort of, explains him going, which I always thought that was kind of funny sounding. This I'm going to put in the A tier. Great song, just not as good as Crazy on You. Nancy Wilson on Barracuda. What the fuck am I supposed to do on this song? Barracuda or Trooper? Trooper, definitely. Do I think Pat Benatar was cute back then? I guess. I don't really know. Also, Trooper plus Beat It equals greatest mashup ever. I think I remember seeing a video about that. Fun song for sure. Do you think... I already answered that. Don't Stop Me Now plus All I Want for Christmas Is You equals favorite mashup. Next we got Stricken by Disturbed. I heard this and Down with the Sickness like at around the same time, and I was pretty sold there. This is, since then, Down with the Sickness has definitely become very soured for me. This song, though, definitely hasn't. I've always found this to be a much, much better song. It has a catchier riff. It's got a really cool solo, and yeah, I always had more fun with this. It's one of my favorites from Disturbed. Probably like my second favorite after Indestructible. But yeah, there's a lot to this that make it one of Disturbed's bests in my humble opinion. This I'm going to put in the S tier for that. Anyone else remember the 2013 Super Bowl commercial that Doritos did that featured LaGrange? I think so. I watch the news every day, and it's upsetting to see what the world has come to. I hate Disturbed in general, but Stricken and Prayer are the two songs I really like from them. That is one of my biggest regret songs. My first Disturbed song was Decadence because of Need for Speed Most Wanted. Disturbed ruined 2 classic songs, so they make my F tier automatically. Those 2 songs being Sound of Silence and Land of Confusion or Shout. I mean, their version of Land of Confusion I've always thought was better than the original. Their version of Shout I don't think I like better than the original. And their version of Sound of Silence, it's not bad. I'm just not sure I like it more or less than the original. Disturbed Stricken was heavy when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. The Shout cover was mediocre but not bad. Yeah, that's fair. I'm talking to you. Come on. Stricken does kick ass. Here we got Holiday in Cambodia by the Dead Kennedys. I'd say this was probably a step up from Police Truck and Rock the 80s. A little bit. I think this has a little more going for it. Pretty fun song. Alright. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite Dead Kennedys songs in general, but it's certainly good. This I'm gonna put in the B tier. Their cover of Sound of Silence is so overblown, agreed. And their Tears for Fears cover is a disgrace. They removed Roland's simple but effective guitar solo, so fuck that. Holiday in Cambodia equals A tier. Okay. Holiday in Cambodia for sure is an S tier. The intro is a bitchin' guitar hero. Holiday in Cambodia would be an easy S tier for me. Yeah. That's cool. This one, a song I never really give a lot of thought to. Lay Down by Priestess. I never really understood why this was part of the main set list compared to, songs that are in the bonus songs that are much more well-known and much more highly regarded than this. It's something I never really understood. I always sort of found this song to be kind of bland and not all that special. So this I'm going to put in D tier because I'd certainly take listening to it over the stuff below it. I'm going to see Disturbed next year on August 31st with Stained and Bad Wolves. Got any tips or advice on something before I go to that show? Make sure that you've familiarized yourself enough with their discography so you don't seem awkward when listening to their set. Because that's another reason why I don't really look back on that Pat Benatar show as being all that fun, because I only really knew like 3 songs of hers at the time. Just Hit Me With Your Best Shot, Heartbreaker, and Love Is a Battlefield. So that's like the best like pre-show thing I can give. The song is boring. I dig this song, but I would put it in B tier. Goddamn, my dad loves Dead Kennedys like hell. Priestess, Lay Down, groovy riff, skip Stained. I don't mind Stained. Mud Shovel has my favorite bass line of all time. I don't think Stained are as bad as some people like to say. They've just never really been a band I've always found to be like amazing or anything like that. Next, the song that introduced me to Slipknot, Before I Forget. Such groovy parts in this, especially during the verse. The chorus is quite catchy. The verse riff is especially like my favorite part. So made a very good impression on Slipknot for me here. And as a result, Volume 3 is my second favorite album of theirs after Iowa. And this is definitely like one of my favorites still. When I saw Slipknot live last summer, I was very psyched when they played this. So very easy S for this. People. Bryan Adams is the worst soft rock artist. Michael Learns to Rock, Hold My Milk. That makes me sad because my name is Michael and I learned to rock at one point. Mud Shuffle is such a good bass line. Yeah. It's fun to play too. Before I Forget is awesome. Bryan Adams is horrible. Major agree. Another thing I'm going to personally disagree with. I think he's an okay AOR guy. My favorite music video, Michael Learns to Rock, is worse. Great Slipknot song. I thought Slipknot My Plague was the heaviest song as a kid. Next, what is this? Helicopter by Block Party. Another song that I remember being kind of unlockable through the co-op career mode. And this song is pretty catchy. It's got some pretty catchy parts. Block Party I always found to be kind of an okay band. Have some alright material, especially on that first album, Alarm. Silent Alarm, I should say. But this is definitely like the most recognizable song of theirs. This I'm going to put in... I'll put it in the A tier. It's fun. Helicopter is SSS tier. Bryan Adams is fun to listen to in my easy S tier. Who doesn't like chocolate? Slipknot was one of the first bands that got me to check out more extreme music, especially with the Iowa record, so I respect Slipknot. Yeah, similar to what I said about Lamb of God in the Guitar Hero 2 stream, I did call the song death metal because it had harsh vocals. But it was, a lot catchier and all that. Russell Lissack equals underrated guitarist. Catchy ass opening guitar riff. That's, yeah. Block Party in one ear at the other. Stain's Zoe Jane can be A tier. I don't know. Man, Helicopter, fun song, and A tier for me. Helicopter was a song that got me into Block Party, but Like Eating Glass is my favorite from them. Yeah. Next, we've got Miss Murder by AFI. I don't mind the song, but I've always preferred early AFI over December Underground. December Underground is where I kind of cut off with them. That's sort of when I feel like they became a bit more commercial sounding. But this song is still, pretty fun, I guess. But I prefer the more hardcore stuff from them. So this I'm going to put in either A or B. Probably B. Miss Murder, killer bassline. Yeah. I'm back. What did I miss? See for yourself, I guess. Him over AFI. I was never really all that huge into him either. I like it, but Dancing Through Sunday and Girls Not Grey are better in my opinion. B tier for me. The Leaving song has always been my sort of go-to for them. AFI, Silver and Cold is the best AFI out there. Wings of Butterfly, that has a cool riff to it. Anarchy in the UK by the Sex Pistols. I've talked before about how I never really got Sex Pistols. You know, they've always been one of those bands that I think people kind of overrate a good bit. They act like, oh, they're the greatest punk band ever. And it's like, I just don't really see it. And this was my introduction with them. And it's like, this isn't really making a good impression with me. To be honest, I always sort of found this song kind of boring. So this is gonna rank. This I'm gonna put in the E tier. I love early AFI and December Underground era, but for totally different reasons, almost like they're different bands. Yeah, Leaving Song is awesome. What about Bridge of Miss Murders? Yeah, there's some cool screaming there. I like the Motley Crue version better, honestly. Never Mind the Bollocks is S tier. Buzzcocks over Sex Pistols, agreed. Johnny Rotten is an idiot. I guess I would agree. But this song is one of my least favorites from it. What do we got next? Slow Ride by Foghat. Foghat is another one of those bands that I never really got too into beyond this song. This song is kind of cool. It's got some cool slide parts. I really like the bass lines in here as well. But outside of this, I always just found Foghat to be kind of by the numbers generic 70s hard rock and all that, and never really impressed me that much. They also, for like in the game, they cut a lot out because the original song is like 8 minutes long. It's got some pretty lengthy parts to it. And I personally find that to be a bit more enjoyable than in the game. So this I'm going to put in the C tier. A catchy song, but I never really looked further into the band. I actually first heard through a video of when Megadeth covered a show they did in my hometown in Phoenix back in the 90s. Search and Destroy by Iggy Pop, SSS tier. Awesome guitar solo. Foghat is a meme. Yeah. I've kind of picked up on that. Miss Murder is piss annoying on guitar on Smash Hits. Slow Ride. Take it easy. UFO equals Foghat but with energy. UFO is thrice the band Foghat is, just by the presence of Michael Schenker alone. Driving Wheel is far better than this very meh tune. Slow Ride is okay. Slow Ride I thought was about drive a truck, but it's about riding sex. Of course it is. Of course, another thing I associate with that song is, of course, Dazed and Confused. At the end of the movie. Next, we got Black Sunshine by White Zombie. Kind of a step down from Thunderkiss 65 in the first game. I didn't think the song was as cool as that one. It's still pretty fun, though. But I don't really have that much to say about this, because I don't think it really gives me too much to say. So this I'm going to put in the B tier. UFO shits over Foghat, indeed. 747 Strangers in the Night equals S tier, my favorite intro solo. The vocals on the cover sound more evil. This I know is a bonus song, but I just decided to throw it on there because, it's one of the main reasons that people, bought the game, and one of the main memories people have is this song's inclusion, Through the Fire and Flames. I'm I'm not I remember sort of thinking it was a bit of a cop-out that this wasn't the final boss song, and rather this is just a thing that you play during the credits and whatnot. But even on fucking Medium, I remember this being quite difficult. I have known a couple people. I mentioned one guy in the What's Wrong With on Dragon Force that was like ranked as one of the like top Guitar Hero players in the country who could beat this on expert and all that. So obviously we know this song's awesome. We know that Dragon Force are very talented and all that. As much of a meme as they sort of have been kind of going down that sort of meme route these days. But this song will always be a love of mine. Black Sunshine is C tier. They made better. I need to look into more UFO. I only have 2 Ought to Handle, Lights Out, Doctor Doctor, and Rock Bottom. Rock Bottom will always have one of my favorite solos. Black Sunshine, bass and song structure. What are some other recommendations you have for UFO? Love to Love is a pretty nice sounding ballad. I would say the albums... Let me get this up. Really anything from the Shanker era. Basically, you got Phenomenon, and then Force It, No Heavy Pettin', Lights Out, and Obsession, those albums. I don't really listen to... After that, I pretty much just jump over to MSG, Michael Schenker Group, Macaulay Schenker Group, whichever it's standing for. I don't really listen to 80s UFO. I sort of view MSG as sort of like an extension of UFO, sort of. F tier, I really can't stand Dragon Force. Boo! Whose idea was it to not have Rock Bottom in an official Guitar Hero game anyway? I know, right? TTAF, Through the Fire and Flames is at least the end credit song. I can at the very least 4-star it. Also, they're one of the worst. When did you see them? Because in my video, I had a cameo from my friend the Random Gangsta, who has seen Dragon Force live very recently, talk about what he thought of their performance. So, and, you know, of course, me and Space Metal both have tickets to see them. We were originally supposed to see them back in March of this year, and it got delayed to fucking next year because of the virus. Dragon Force is the only power metal band to become mainstream. It sort of depends on how you define power metal, but I would definitely say they are the most mainstream power metal band, probably of all time. You can't have GH3 tier list without it. You're referring to I Am Chris for Life. Who? Galnerius is way better. Did anyone realize that modern prog rock is always so dark and Pink Floyd Caravan sounding, and like what happened to whimsical prog? To an extent. Moving on. Next, we got Talk Dirty to Me by Poison. Pretty fun. Pretty catchy. Pretty cool solo, though. It's got nothing on nothing but a good time. Definitely a step down there. This was never really a song that I liked as much as that. You know, it's fun, but it's never really been one of my favorites from Poison. So, this I'm going to put in A tier. Halloween is the most mainstream. They're probably number 2 after Dragon Force. I'm Christopher Life is the first YouTuber to FCC TTAF. No, he wasn't the guy I went to high school with. His name was Jason. And I remember if I say what his username was, then I feel like it might lead to some I don't want to say doxing, but I don't really want to tread into that territory because his username had his last name in it. So many are Porcupine Tree sounding as well. What other power metal bands do I consider mainstream? Let me think. Well, Halloween and Dragon Force are definitely the first two that come to mind. Firewind I consider pretty mainstream. Hammerfall I might throw in there. That's sort of the gist, I would say. Those are mainly like the first ones that come to mind when I think of like really big power metal bands. Maybe Sonatic Arctica, I'm not too sure. Blind Guardian, Symphony X. Symphony X is prog metal. I don't really have them in power metal. Jason Derulo talked dirty to me over Poison. At least Derulo's memorable. I remember I made a pun about that in Best Songs of 2014. Poison talked dirty to me sounds punky. Kind of. Talk Dirty to Me, my introduction to Poison, and it has been with me ever since I started purchasing music on iTunes. It was my introduction too, but the more I listen, but most of the stuff I listened to from Poison ended up kind of blowing it out of the water. Punky, yeah. Rainbow is the second most mainstream to me. I consider Rainbow more traditional metal than I do power metal. Dio invented that genre. Dio definitely laid down the seed for it. And I feel like it blossomed in the 90s or late 80s. Holy Diver definitely inspired it. Power metal isn't big in America. Yeah, it's more of a Swedish thing, European thing. Next in here is Sunshine of Your Love by Cream. Another song that has a riff that I think is kind of played out. And a step down from Crossroads in the first game. This has never really been a song I really liked all that much. I always just saw it as kind of meh. Not awful, but I don't know. It leaves a lot to be desired personally. So this I'm gonna put in. I'll be generous. I'll put it in D tier. Thrash metal / death metal is big in America, kind of. I don't know. Ginger Baker, yeah, his drumming on that is probably the best part. Manowar also helped bring power metal life in the 80s. Yes. I'm not sure how mainstream I'd say Manowar were, but they were definitely like one of the first ones that I can think of. White Room over Sunshine of Your Love, agreed. Next over here. Bulls on Parade by Rage Against the Machine. I'm not sure I like this as much as Killin' in the Name, but it's definitely a fun one. It's definitely catchier, in my opinion. Pretty fun to play as well. Fun to play on bass in real life. You know, there's only really so much I know for this song on guitar. One of these days I sort of need to, you know, I have seen videos on how the solo here, the sort of scratchy solo, is played. I think it's with turning. It has to do with turning the knobs up and sort of sliding your hand on the strings, I guess, and doing a kill switch effect. But yeah, musically, I've always found this to be a ton of fun. So S tier for this. Cream and Eric Clapton's solo career is very ed. Ginger was always my favorite member from the band. Power metal is technically almost exclusively mainstream in Europe. Blind Faith, Clapton equals best. I don't really know too much Blind Faith, but I know it's a thing. Down Rodeo, Bulls on Parade. Okay. Bulls on Parade introduced me to Rage. Killing the Name is much more fun. It's more fun to play, personally. Bulls is A tier. E flat. Bulls on Parade, Immigrant Song, because it's easier. Testify is a fun tune as well, of course. Then for this, we got Threes and Sevens by Queens of the Stone Age. This song went on to become my favorite of Queens of the Stone Age. I find this to be kind of a step up from No One Knows in the first game. Like, I always found it kind of interesting how in the main riff there's kind of a displacement thing going on in the rhythm section. And there's some pretty fun lead work in this as well. Pretty catchy too. But No One Knows is still pretty fun though. This one I just kind of like a little better. This I'm going to put in the A tier. Blind Faith is okay. Killing the Name just has more fun groove, and it does have a better solo, for sure. The Bulls on Parade solo has nothing on the Killing in the Name solo, and it especially has nothing on the Know Your Enemy solo. Blind Faith mostly gained notoriety for the Jailbait album cover. No One Knows has the weirdest guitar solo ever. The song got me into Queens of the Stone Age. BTW, Sunshine of Your Love may have created the riff, but Anagata Davida would do it better the following year. That chorus. This, we got Even Flow by Pearl Jam. Pretty fun one. Pretty groovy one. Not really a song I liked all that much in the game. I was never really the hugest on Pearl Jam. I always preferred Alice in Chains and Soundgarden over them. But, you know, I still find the material to be kind of enjoyable. They do have some good musicians. But that's always been sort of my weird kind of feeling with Pearl Jam. Definitely one of their more fun songs. But I don't know. This I am going to put in the B tier. Era Vulgaris is pretty underrated if you ask me. Yes, it is very underrated. NIB equals Sunshine of Your Love But Awesome. That I actually agree with. Plus Iron Butterfly added the awesome drum solo. It goes on fucking forever. And then, of course, we all remember that scene in The Simpsons where Bart gives the church organ player the sheet music to the song, and the organ pipes become like rusted from all the fucking craziness going on there. And I also love the way how the Reverend pronounced it, Iron Butterfly. Alice in Chains, Melvins, and Soundgarden are way better. Agreed. Melvins ain't grunge. They get associated a lot with grunge because they have kind of a grungy sound that came out at the time. They're a band that Kurt Cobain spoke very highly of and are probably the reason people know the Melvins. They're more of alternative metal for me, but that's sort of how they get grouped in there. Eddie Vedder Vogels equals Scott Stapp. Yes, we all know that. They're proto-sludge. Got 3 more. And this one is a very large file. What is this? Ooh. The Metal by Tenacious D. Another very fun one. It's from a great movie. And from my favorite album of Tenacious D's, the Pick of Destiny soundtrack. A very fun song that you hear at the end of the movie during the credits. It's got lyrics I'm sure we can all relate to about how nothing can destroy the metal. Even though I like punk, I like some grunge, I like my new wave, some of it, and how they all tried to destroy the metal, and grunge almost succeeded, but didn't. But yes, the song has a great riff. It's got some fun parts. And of course you got Jack Black being Jack Black. Who doesn't love that? This has nothing, though, on fucking Beelzebub, The Final Showdown. Tenacious D will never have a song better than that. And there will never be a more badass moment than that fucking scene in the movie, which ironically has Dave Jesus Grohl playing the devil. And I think he plays drums on that as well. So, even though this isn't exactly one of my all-time favorites of Tenacious D, I definitely got to put it in the S tier. Long live the D. Kyle Gass equals awesome guitarist. He is great. Jack Black is a great frontman. He really is. I saw them live around the end of 2018. They were quite entertaining. Love the song Master Exploder. That's another one of my favorites from the movie / soundtrack. Probably my second favorite after Beelzebub. S tier, though. The first time I heard the metal, I didn't know what comedy band. Yeah, like, I didn't even know that was Jack Black singing on this. But then once I found out it was, I'm like, oh, I can kind of hear it now. No one can destroy the metal. I'm the devil, I love metal. The guitar part played the same notes as the part in the metal right after that last verse. I can kind of see that. Check this riff, it's fucking tasty. The way they introduced that song at the concert I went to was kind of hacky, but I was very, very glad they played it. Because if they didn't, I would be very, very upset. Oof. Another one of my all-time favorites in the game, Cliffs of Dover by Eric Johnson. One of my favorite instrumental songs ever. This is so happy sounding. I just love it. I love the very cheery melodies. I love the sort of dramatic sounding parts, like as the before it gets into the final chorus melody when it goes and in the last part of the chorus when it goes up the octave for it, I always really liked that too. Like, I always get in such a good mood whenever I listen to this. It's amazing. I love this song so much. Another very easy S rank. Classico is the only song I learned before I heard it. Punk, new wave, and grunge all have a number of great tunes. Hell, my favorite band is a grunge band, being Alice in Chains, but metal overall is the most kick-ass tunes. And what makes Alice in Chains so cool is that they're kind of a metal band as well. So they kind of cross-platformed and whatnot. So they were kind of an ally as well. That movie introduced me to Dio and Meatloaf. Wayfarer by In Flames equals Slow Cliffs of Dover. Embody the Invisible S tier. Great guitar song. I love it. I love it so much. Not a whole lot of Eric Johnson's material really matches up to that song, but but I just cannot get over Cliffs of Dover. And the last song in here, what is this? Last but not least, we got Knights of Sidonia by Muse. So, my relationship with this band is kind of weird. You know, not just because their name is because their name reminds me of my former favorite YouTuber. But this was my introduction to Muse, and when I first heard it in the game, I thought the song was so kick-ass and awesome. You know, I loved the, groove in the, like, first half of the song, and that part. Even when the vocals entered, I never really liked the vocals that much, and I always thought they were kind of weird sounding when it gets to the "No one's gonna take me alive," that part. But the part after that, I thought that part sounded really awesome. But everything else I've heard from Muse just never matched up to this. They never really made any other songs that sounded like this. And I always found that to be very unfortunate. They're not bad songs. Like, of course, Hysteria has a very great bass line. And there's some other cool songs, like some other favorites of theirs include Uprising, Assassin, Time Is Running Out, Stockholm Syndrome. And some others here and there, but this one was always my favorite, and it's always been kind of the peak level for them that they just never really matched, which is kind of unfortunate. So, this, yeah, I'm making it, I'm going to put it in the S right there. It's great. Satriani Buckethead I enjoy way more, though. What do you think of the clean version of Beelzebub? I think it's even funnier than the original. One reason being is how much effort they put into censoring the lyrics and what came out of it. Never heard that. Eric Johnson sounds like an AOR singer. Knights of Sidonia equals F tier. I made the worst mistake of buying the clean version of Beelzebub before the explicit, making fart sounds into critically acclaimed songs. This band has aged badly for me, so I've heard. Seriously, there are fart noises in the first verse of the song. What's more unbearably insane with strumming Miserlou or this song? Muse's madness is still kicking. Dang, drat, fudge, the devil watching his mouth. What? Did hell freeze over? The Tornado, Muse's entire discography. Simulation Theory, second lost some of my least favorite albums of the 2010s. I remember their last album, not getting as great reviews. I see them as being a Radiohead ripoff band. Now, that's always been... I think I talked about that in that Radiohead Elitists video I made about people complaining about Muse and all that. I don't think Muse is awful. I just think they're okay. Ruled by Secrecy is one of my favorites of Muse. What do you think of it? Okay. Knights of Sidonia, best song. They most changed genres. Yeah. Coldplay equals best Radiohead ripoff band. Absolutely, it took me a long time to realize. Coldplay's first 4 albums are good. Muse has none, though they're more of a U2 ripoff band now. Viva La Vida is a Moody Blues ripoff. It's a Satriani ripoff. Nah. Alright, but there's my final tier list for GH3. So, let me export as GH3 tier list. And just like I've done in the other streams here, let's briefly go over the bonus songs because there are some pretty awesome ones. List of songs in Guitar Hero 3. Alright, bonus songs. What do you think of the song? I mean, Ruled by Secrecy. Okay. Now that I think about it, yeah. All right. So, Avalancha by Heroes del Silencio. Can't Be Saved by my old pal Census Fail. Good song, definitely, from a great album of theirs. Census Fail do have good music, it's just that Buddy Nielsen was just such a raging SJW on Facebook. Closer by Lacuna Coil. I was never really that big on Lacuna Coil. Don't Hold Back by The Sleeping. The Sleeping are pretty okay. Down and Dirty by LA Slumlords. Don't really remember that. FCP Remix by Fall of Troy. One of my favorite bonus songs. That song is so crazy. I love it. Generation Rock by Revolver Held. Meh. Go That Far by Bret Michaels Band. Not awful, but never really cared much for Bret Michaels solo. Here Kommt Alex by Die Toten Hosen. Kind of a funny one. I'm in the Band by the Helicopters. Impulse by an Endless Sporadic. Yes. Endless Sporadic are awesome. They're an awesome instrumental prog metal band. Highly recommend you check them out. In Love by Scouts of St. Sebastian. Dunno. In the Belly of a Shark by Gallows. Malvis Garcon by Nust. Metal Heavy Lady by The Lions. Minus Celsius by the Backyard Babies. Top 10 album picks of 2020. I'll get to that after this. Because I've been ordering the albums that I get as I get them and all that, so I can have more of a definitive ranking and all that. This video game introduced me to the Stone Roses. What do I think of the Blind by Korn riff? It's pretty great. Of course, the song is also best known for these three very glorious words. Are you ready? Fall of Troy is really cool math rock. They're excellent. They're very excellent. Endless Sporadic are cool. Glad to see someone else agrees. FCP Remix kicks so much ass. But you know what's bullshit? Filter Keys. The Way It Ends, if you don't count TT8F, is my favorite bonus song. We will get to that. My Curse by Killswitch Engage, my favorite song of theirs. I love that chorus. And how it's great. Love it. Nothing for Me Here by Dope. Never really cared that much about Dope. Prayer of the Refugee by Rise Against. I love Rise Against. This song is pretty awesome. But my favorite from Rise Against has always been Architects. Radio Song by Superbus. Ruby by Kaiser Chiefs. That one's pretty cool. Pretty fun. She Bangs the Drums by the Stone Roses. This is actually not a master recording. That's interesting. Not a bad one. I did think that Love Spreads in Guitar Hero 4 was a step up. Take This Life by In Flames. Okay, I've never really been that huge into In Flames. The Way It Ends by Prototype. Another band that comes highly recommended. Very, very great prog metal band. And then finally, Through the Fire and Flames by Dragon Force. That's cool. And, wow, there's a list of downloadable content as well. I'm not sure if I'm going to go over the DLC there. But yes. I think we're done. Back over to main window. I can X out of GIMP. And I can throw that folder away. Dope sucks, kinda, yeah. I remember finding their cover of You Spin Me Round Like a Record. I remember finding that kind of cringy. This is my curse! Yep. Agreed, Architects is their best song. Yes, glad to see someone agrees with me there. Ecstasy, Heroin, Dope, Clapton's Cocaine. In Flames when they were good. Dope Debonari was in Fast and Furious. Thrash Prog. The re-recording of Clayman is atrocious. Any In Flames song could have made this, but they're just bonus. Anyway, here's what my top 10 for 2020 looks like at the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So here's what it is at the moment. This will probably change, later on when more things come into it, if something, tops any of these. So, number 10 is Invent Animate's Greyview. Number 9 is Covet's Technicolor. Number 8 is Polaris's The Death of Me. Number 7 is Binary Code's Memento Mori. Number 6 is Dan Sugarman's Inside Out Part 1. Number 5 is Protest the Heroes' Palimpsest. Number 4 is Haken's Virus. Number 3 is Trivium's What the Dead Men Say. Number 2 is Belmont's Reflections. And number 1 is Joe Satriani's Shapeshifting. Because of course it is. So that's what my top 10 for 2020 is looking like at the moment. If more, with more coming in, something's bound to get topped. So, I don't know. We will see what happens. I found You Spin Me Round through MSGV. Dope's cover of Fuck the Police is hilariously bad. I can only imagine. Honestly, I don't know. A nu metal band covering Fuck the Police, that just sounds kind of ironic. I only really care for Die Motherfucker Die. Now I'm just thinking of Still by the Ghetto Boys. Which is one of the most excellent rap songs ever. If your band name is a drug, then it probably sucks unless it's ecstasy. Dope is more industrial metal than new. Yeah, kind of. They're sort of around that era and all that, when a lot of industrial metal was kind of grouped in there just because it was around the same time. Absolutely agreed with that, Blackwater Rust. Fear Factory will always and forever be my favorite in industrial metal. Massive agree. Two-Way Army? I've never heard of that. Same with Static X. Yep. They were great too. Because Gene Hoglan Nuclear Annihilates doesn't many cringy dope level bands. Gene Hoglan is excellent. Two-Boy Army, I have only heard a few songs of, but I do like them. While I have Wikipedia open, let's... New wave synth pop post punk. Oh my god. Who do you think invented industrial metal? Probably Ministry. I prefer Gary Newman's solo, but yeah, they're good. Oh wow, Gary Newman was a part of that band. Static X I can stand. I have a soft spot for Static X Skinny Man because of Need for Speed Most Wanted. Static X do have some cool stuff, and rest in peace to Wayne Static. You and your fucking crazy ass hair. Looking like a white Gerald from Hey Arnold. Death Symbolic era of Gene Hoglan is the best. Pretty much everything Gene Hoglan touches is great. Whether you're talking that, whether you're talking Fear Factory, whether you're talking Testament, whether you're talking Death Clock, he's excellent. Swan's Half-Life gets labeled as industrial. Huge Gargantuan agree. Blackwater Rust. He was good in individual thought patterns. Death Clock is very nice. And I don't know if they're really a thing anymore, but yeah. All three of the Death albums, very good listens. Brendan Small is a genius. Oh yeah, Cynic. Cynic is a band I always find myself forgetting. I don't know if I want to do a tier list for Guitar Hero World Tour because, I don't know. I remember looking over the soundtrack for that just for like on the off chance it interested me enough to do a tier list, and there was a lot that I just don't even remember. And it would be just kind of scattered and all over the place. So it's doubtful I'm gonna do any more tier lists beyond this one. This is probably just gonna be the last one. Shades, I really hate to deflect to a really popular topic, but you've never been sucked into the hype of binging super lewd and gross videos like Two Girls, One Cup, right? No, I have not done that. Nah. Guitar Hero soundtracks went downhill after 3. Yeah. I mean, 4 had some good songs, but the overall package, there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot that I just don't really remember. There's like way too much indie rock in there. I have a whole playlist on it that makes it interesting. I suppose I can briefly go over which songs I like and in the game and where I would probably rank them. List of songs in Guitar Hero World Tour. Alright, so since there's like multiple songs by an artist, here are the ones that I like. Too Much Too Young Too Fast by Airborne. That's probably kind of a mid-tier one for me. Ramblin' Man by the Allman Brothers Band. That's got a pretty great solo. Never Too Late by The Answers. Okay. One Armed Scissor by At the Drive-In is pretty groovy. No Sleep Till Brooklyn by Beastie Boys, one of my favorites of theirs. Rebel Yell by Billy Idol, that's a pretty catchy one. Stillborn by Black Label Society, obviously that's pretty good. Damn It by Blink-182. That's a tolerable one. One Way or Another by Blondie, pretty catchy. Hollywood Nights by Bob Seger. Don't like it as much as Old Time Rock and Roll, but yeah. Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi. I love Jovi. I don't think I need to hear that song anymore. Scream Aim Fire by Bullet for My Valentine. That's awesome. Up Around the Bend by Creedence Clearwater Revival. That's okay. Love Removal Machine by The Cult is okay. Love Me Two Times by The Doors. That's one of my favorites. I don't like it as much as Light My Fire. Pull Me Under by Dream Theater. You know I love them. Hotel California by the Eagles. That's the only song by the Eagles I really like. That I really like that much and whatnot. Mostly because of the solo. Nothing I've really heard from the Eagles really stands up to it, and that's why I don't really care for them that much. Hey Man, Nice Shot by Filter. That one's pretty good. Go Your Own Way by Fleetwood Mac. Not bad. Everlong by Foo Fighters. Jesus Band. Don't really like this song as much as Monkey Wrench, but it's still pretty classic. Mountain Song by Jane's Addiction. That's a pretty awesome one. Step up from Stop, in my opinion. Got Purple Haze and Wind Cries Mary from Jimi Hendrix. Wind Cries Mary I really enjoy. It's very relaxing to listen to. Purple Haze is kind of played out, though. The Middle by Jimmy Eat World. Of course, that is a very fun pop-punk anthem and all that. Satch Boogie by Joe Satriani. You guys know Satriani's my favorite musician. Satch Boogie might not exactly be one of my favorites of his, but I'm glad that a song of his got included in this, and I actually had a very hard time with this song. Freak on a Leash by Korn. Of course, you can't go wrong with that. Are You Gonna Go My Way by Lenny Kravitz. I've heard better from him personally, but there's some pretty groovy parts in that song. Never liked What I've Done by Linkin Park. I always kind of hated that song. Prisoner of Society by Live and End. Very worthy follow-up from Carry Me Home in the second game. Los Lobos' version of La Bamba. I personally like this better than the original. Ew, Lost Prophets, gross. Sweet Home Alabama by Leonard Skinner. No. I don't hate the song, but Freebird just blows it out the water. Elvia Kez by Mars Volta. Wow. You had both At the Drive-In and Mars Volta in the game. That's kind of cool, actually. I've always preferred Mars Volta over At the Drive-In. Favorite song of theirs would be Goliath, but Elvia is pretty fun. Kick Out the Jams by MC5. Trapped Under Ice by Metallica. Very excellent. Beat It by Michael Jackson. Love that. Float On by Modest Mouse. That's pretty cool. Overkill by Motorhead. One of my favorites there. Massive step up from Ace of Spades in my opinion. Assassin by Muse. Talked about that a little bit ago. That's good. Spiderwebs by No Doubt. That's a great one. Sold Out by No Effects. That's a pretty fast one. Love it. Some Might Say by Oasis. Okay. Crazy Train and Mr. Crowley by Ozzy Osbourne. Crazy Train is Crazy Train. And Mr. Crowley I like a lot better. Love that harmony part. The solo in general is very excellent. Heartbreaker by Pat Benatar. We talked about that a little bit ago. Re-Education Through Labor by Rise Against. That's pretty cool. Today by Smashing Pumpkins. That's a nice one. Do It Again by Steely Dan. Pretty cool solo. The Joker by Steve Miller Band. That is a funny meme. Because I am the space gangster. Because I'm Maurice, the space gangster cowboy of love. Demolition Man. It's an alright song, but they use a version by Sting's solo as opposed to The Police. I always found that to be just, kind of degrading. Love Spreads by the Stone Roses. Like I said before, like it a lot better than She Bangs the Drums. Santeria by Sublime. Love the solo here. Another very relaxing one. And again, solo was awesome. Eye of the Tiger by Survivor. Another one that's kind of played out that I don't think I really need to hear anymore. BYOB by System of a Down. My favorite of theirs. Stranglehold by Ted Nugent. My favorite of his. Another one of my lengthy solos that I really love. The Kill by 30 Seconds to Mars. Oh, that's an alright one. And then you have 3 Tool songs. You have Parabola, Schism, and Vicarious. Parabola is awesome. Schism's cool. Vicarious is one of my favorites from 10,000 Days. Hot for Teacher by Van Halen. That one's awesome. Band on the Run by Wings. Never really liked the song as much as other songs from Paul McCartney and Wings, but okay. Everything else in the soundtrack on Guitar Hero 4 I just do not find to be memorable at all, or I just don't really like the songs. I either don't remember them or I just don't like them. So, thus concludes my thoughts on Guitar Hero 4. Now I'll catch up with the chat. Rock Band 2 and Guitar Hero 2, probably my favorite setlist. GH5 is the most boring setlist in the main series. Guitar Hero World Tour was fun. I only really played it once and never really touched it again. Adam's Song over Damn It. Yeah, I can agree with that. Guitar Hero 5 only has a few artists that I like. King Crimson, Peter Frampton, Children of Bodom, Iron Maiden, Megadeth, Darkest Hour 2, Take It Easy is a good one too. Take It Easy is okay, I guess. But kind of like what I was saying about Muse with Knights of Sidonia, the Eagles is just another band that have that one really great song that they never really topped all that much. The middle S tier for me. Blink is extremely boring for me. I do kind of find Blink to be a bit overrated, but not awful. It took a long time for me to really get into them. Favorite House Atlantic, every other pop punk song. Trapped Under Ice is immediately S tier. Same with Scream and Fire. Could have done worse for Korn, like All in the Family. I don't mind All in the Family. It's kind of goofy fun and all that. Mars Volta are one of my favorites. They're pretty excellent. Honestly, I get sentimental about Sweet Home Alabama a bit more than Freebird, but not a lot. Also at the Drive-In is great. Prog Punk. I have them grouped in as post-hardcore, whereas Mars Volta I have under prog rock. Beat It was lit when I first heard it. Yeah, I remember my first time listening to that song, and I'm like, ooh, what is this fucking solo? And it's still one of my favorite solos. Pat Benatar, Heartbreaker, or Led Zeppelin, Heartbreaker. Agreed. Sting solo rules. Not a lot of people are really kind to Sting solo. It's not bad, but yeah. Sublime sucks. Nope. Sublime is okay. They have some good material. I do enjoy their first 3 albums, or their only 3 albums. Ted Nugent is best when he doesn't sing, cough, Amboy Dukes, cough. He's also the best when he isn't, ranting about Obama and crap and all that. Sublime, lyrical-wise, is one of the worst. They're kind of corny and all that. Everybody's going to the party, have a real good time. Vicarious, nice. The thing I always found to be really cool about BYOB is the part where it goes, dancing in the desert, blowing up the sun, where the fuck are you? Just randomly just going back to that. That's nothing compared to Weezer. I'm the One's most unbearably goddamn hard song to FC in the Van Halen department. Rivers Cuomo should have stuck to guitar and got a mature adult to write his lyrics. What do you mean Rivers is a lyrical genius? Okay, bitches, it's Weezer and it's Wheezy. Catchiest chorus of metal ever. Ted Nugent is another person where it's hard to separate her from the artist due to what he has done in his crazy ramblings. I can separate the art from the artist fine with him. I've never really been the craziest about much of his material outside of Stranglehold. But I don't know. I just tend to ignore his political rantings and whatnot. I think I might have unfollowed his page because of that. Other than Squarehammer or is it Hard Rock? Who cares? Awesome song. Ted Nugent is a borderline psycho. Like, do I have to say more? Yeah, he's a wacko as a person. He's someone that kind of needs to shut up. Amboy Dukes era Nugent is best Nugent. That's interesting. That's an interesting take. Another reason I can't exactly hate Nugent is because, I do enjoy Damn Yankees as well. And it's kind of weird that he was a part of that. I'm now thinking of a funny thing about Ted Nugent. When I first learned who he was, I thought his name was Ted Nugget. And there was one time I was watching this video from Repsion. I forget what it was about, but he called him Ted Nugget as well. And I thought it was the funniest thing because it just made me think back to that. Just Ted Nugget. Ted McNugget. Have you ever heard of a reverse supergroup band members that got popular after they left? That doesn't make sense. Like King Crimson. Huh. That's considered a reverse supergroup, huh? I'm not sure if I see where you're coming from there. But I guess, Greg Lake definitely got bigger with ELP. And you also had John Waite, who was in the band, who was, of course, in Asia and whatnot, which I guess was bigger. I don't know. I thought it was Ted Nugget too. I wonder if he likes McNuggets. John Wetton in Asia, Greg in ELP, and Ian in Foreigner. That is kind of interesting. Still not as big of an asshole like Gene Simmons. That's debatable. Have you heard of the show Supergroup featuring Ted Nugent, Sebastian Bach, Scott Ian, and I think I have heard of that. I'm not sure I really looked much into that, but I do know that was a thing. Gene is definitely a big reason for me disliking Kiss. Paul Stanley ain't much better. Yeah, I talked about this before, how I wouldn't say Paul Stanley is as insufferable as Gene Simmons, but he kind of borders on that. it's debatable if I'd say that Gene is worse or even better than Nugent. Both of them have some pretty boomer takes. Peter Criss, best Kiss member. That's an interesting take. My favorite members have always been whoever was playing lead guitar with them. Like, as far as 70s Kiss, obviously, Ace Frehley would be my favorite there. As far as 80s, between Vinnie Vincent and Bruce Kulick, that I'm not too sure. I mean, I enjoy Vinnie Vincent Invasion more than 80s Kiss, but I'm not sure I liked Vinnie Vincent in Kiss as much, so probably Kulick. And then you have Tommy Thayer currently, who is, of course, formerly of the band Black and Blue. Rick Beato is the only boomer that deserves respect. He certainly has some very respectable aspects to him, but there's a lot about Rick Beato that just makes me go, ugh. Like, he has a lot of very okay boomer takes and whatnot. Like, a lot of the time I feel like a lot of the stuff he talks about for his What Makes a Song Great series and his countdowns, a lot of the stuff he talks about there is kind of predictable. Like, I can see them coming from a mile away. It's like, okay, we get it. And his weird understanding and his weird kind of interpretation of the copyright system, how he thinks that saying an artist's name is going to get a video blocked. And it's like, I've been saying artists' names throughout my whole channel, and that's never been the reason anything of mine ever got blocked. So I don't think you know what you're talking about there. Y&T, Def Leppard, and Europe are most purely metal bands of all time because of a certain video. Nugent's worst. Gene is a likable douche for me. Rick Beato's rants are good. They can be okay, but sometimes he just kind of makes me go, ugh. Nugget is just plain unlikable jerk. Yes. Don Henley is a douche. He has a freaking team of people that scour YouTube for people that play clips of the Eagles and copyright strike them. It's like, fuck you, dude. Learn to fucking get with the program. Joe Walsh is the best Eagle. Why? Because James Gang fucking rules. I never really got too huge into James Gang, but the song Rocky Mountain Way I always thought was kind of cool, mostly for that talk box part. But yeah, Joe Walsh has always been my favorite member of the band. And there was a kid I went to high school with whose stepdad was one of the drummers for the Eagles, Scott Crago. And because of that, he was kind of a celebrity in my area. So they come out like the no Kiss makeup Kiss rejects. Joe Walsh gave that pussy band temporary testicles. That's funny. Yeah. Like, Hotel California is a fine song, but nothing else I've really heard from them really impressed me that much. And then you got this, and it's like, wow. James Gang is much better. Oasis, Noel, and Liam Gallagher are douches. Entertaining douches, though. Yeah, they're kind of obnoxious. Like, they hate each other, and they're pretty just uptight in general. With Oasis, I only really like the first two albums. I have that certain video saved. I know you do. I might need it for a certain video of mine, but we will see. On the topic of the person that made that certain video, last night, me and some of my pals in the community, we were dealing with this one dude, this one really kind of, blind fan of UTF's, going to the last video on him that Damian Skyfire made, and basically just, playing the numbers game for no real reason other than to, make a pot shot and whatnot, as well as, talking about how the ranting community is dead and whatnot. And I've already said my piece on that, but when I presented that counterpoint to him over there, all he could come back with was basically trying to take a pot shot at me apparently being irrelevant and whatnot and playing the numbers game there. And I'm like, that proves me wrong how? Like, you're not proving me wrong. You're saying something completely irrelevant. Fucking actually argue. And it's a stupid red herring over there, and not to mention, it's also kind of a move with the goalpost fallacy, because here I am sort of making a counterpoint to your idea that the community is dead, and then you're like, oh, but the people that are around aren't as popular as the people that I liked. And it's like, who cares? It's not important. So yeah, that was an interesting little thing over on that video. If none of you are subscribed to Damian Skyfire, by the way, you should sub to him. He's a cool mofo. I want to see him get to 1K soon. Blur over Oasis. I suppose. Crash Thompson, do you ever feel self-conscious as a musician? Don't Godsmack Got This plays the Bad Religion to chart. That's actually my favorite Godsmack song, personally. It was the song that got me into Godsmack. So, tell me your email in private. Facebook chat is too tiny for me to send it. You can send it to me over file. You can upload it to file mail and, send me the link there. That's how I send people shit. Swede, Pulp, Blur, Oasis. Godsmack copied Slayer. I guess in that sense, but not really. Punk Rock NBA says not to listen to critics for Job for a Cowboy selling out in reverse. I don't know. He most certainly is not an idiot. Let's see if I can actually try to send it to you on Facebook or Messenger. Do the file mail thing. That's easier. my thing went ding. You might have heard me getting an email, because it makes a ding sound whenever I get an email. Also, my thing went ding is kind of an interesting way to say you got an erection. Alright. Punk Rock MBA has entertaining opinions, even though sometimes I think that his opinions are 100% wrong. I wouldn't say it's the opinion that's wrong, it's more so the rationale behind it. Because the thing about opinions is that opinions can't be wrong. The foundation of the opinion, or the logic behind it, is what can be wrong, which is why opinions can be argued and all that, because the thing that influenced the opinion can be brought into question and whatnot. But, like, other than that, I agree with what you're saying. There's definitely been some things that I do not agree with Finn on, but I do think he has good insights when it comes to business and when it comes to, I guess, building a career and all that. It's just that some of his, musical opinions kind of make me go, I'm not sure I really agree with that. Like for example, whenever he talks about Gent and all that, and he talks about, how it's boring and all that, I do not agree with him there. I think it's, I've said this before, but it's basically, the stuff in metal that I think has the best potential to be the next generation equivalent of what a lot of people consider metal's renaissance and all that. But yeah. Sometimes I love a band so much that I get sick of them, so I stop listening to them for at least 6 months, then I love them all over again. That's kind of fun. A surgeon somebody's ex said that he had anal warts. If that's true, that's hilarious, but I wouldn't really know. I never really made that my business. He didn't even bring up Bathory in the black metal video. Guess they're more Viking metal to him. I don't know. I really couldn't care less. Hefner and Vin and Sori are way worse. Don't know what that means. I think I've been going at this for a while. Punk Rock NBA did a good job with the new metal video, the fan base being people that don't fit in. He definitely has a lot of good videos under his belt. Some that I don't really like that much, but definitely a very, very smart man. Underground Metal Gamer was the worst until he disappeared. I remember being asked what I thought of Underground Metal Gamer once before on here. I only know who he is because of the video Wyatt X Him did towards him. How long have I been going? We're almost hitting the 3-hour mark. Holy fuck. Celtic Frost, or I always find myself calling them that because I'm from fucking Boston. Celtic Frost, they're kind of weird with that. It's sort of like a mix of black metal and thrash metal, I guess I would say. So maybe that's why he might not have mentioned them there. I don't know. I don't really like getting onto him for, why didn't you mention this? Because he doesn't really have to. And more than likely, you know, just because he doesn't mention something doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't know about it. So that's why I don't really get, you know, complaining about that kind of stuff with his videos. I annoyed him, so maybe I saw it coming, but he banned me for something another person said, something about Five Finger Death Punch. Wyatt is decent. He's okay. He's sort of funny, you know. Wyatt introduced me to some good black metal bands like Ulver. Celtic Frost is the most mainstream black metal ever, other than Emperor. Check your Facebook notifs. Oh, you're tagging me in a post, huh? Let me get to this. Why am I not? Oh, okay. There it is.
It very well be one of many.
All right. How do I fucking download this? I'll have. I'm not gonna do this on stream, obviously. Ulver is black metal, Mazzy Star. Celtic Frost is more avant-garde thrash, even though Ulver is more experimental. Megatherion is pretty black metal. After that, they went avant-garde. Of course, there's also Cold Lake. I'm sure everybody loves Cold Lake. In all seriousness, Cold Lake is cringe. I listened to it because I was curious, and I was so bored throughout the album. It's cringe. And this is coming from a huge glam nerd, so that should be saying something. Alright. I think now I should cut it off. I'm getting hungry. So, thanks for chilling with me on this. This was pretty fun. And that's about it. Have a good rest of your evening, and take care. I'm Shades, and I'll see you next time.